G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I think what I'll do today is I'll start my walk and talk from the rocks here. As you can see, it's a cracker of a summer's day, and I'll go on record as saying that this is probably the best day that we've had all summer, and it's taken the whole of summer to get to this day, but it's an absolutely beautiful summer's day here in Sydney. It's blue sky, it's a gentle breeze, it's warm, it's Friday, it's the day before the weekend. So as you can hear, there's quite a few boxes being ticked. So I'll head up here and we'll see how we go. I might make it down to the International Passenger Terminal. I think it'll be a lovely vantage point this afternoon. It's lunchtime here in the city. And this is my second 5am club for the day. I'll try and pump out a couple more so we can click along and get through them and creep and crawl to that magical 1,000 milestone that I've set in stone, God willing. Anyway, today's book summary is a beauty. It's very, very interesting, and it's jam-packed with some interesting things that'll help us understand ourselves a little bit better, how our brain works, how our mind works, and allow us to look forward to the future, look forward to growing old, and knowing that it's not a disadvantage, because our brain can continue to reshape and stay healthy for as long as we want, as long as we exercise it and know what to do to improve its plasticity. So one of the points that comes out of this book here to kick it off, and I might as well tell you what the book is first. The book is entitled The Brain That Changes Itself. The Brain That Changes Itself. And it's a book written by Norman Doidge. And he kicks off the book here with an observation that nature has given us a brain that survives in a changing world by changing itself. So even though the world is changing, our brain is also capable of changing and reshaping itself, and that way it can stay relevant, it can stay healthy, and it can continue to serve us, I guess, is the bottom line. So what the author then kicks off with, the second important point from a scientific perspective, is that the author here suggests and tells us that from a scientific perspective, previously scientists believed that the brain was fixed when fully formed and then deteriorated as we aged. So the old thinking was that you were born with a brain, it grew and developed, and then it got to a point after years that it started to deteriorate and die off. But the author here tells us that that isn't the case, because with the rise of the science of neuroplasticity, we now know that the brain can heal itself from injury, it can change from various experiences and regenerate even into old age. How empowering is that? That the brain can not only heal itself from injury, it can change its shape with experiences. So it's malleable, it's changeable, it's able to continue to grow and develop, and it can regenerate even into old age. Because the bottom line is that we humans are pretty special, and we are indeed very resilient. So the brain can change itself through things like unmasking. There's a scientific term called unmasking. So I'll try and understand, and I'll try and explain what unmasking is as best I can, based on what the author has been able to share with us. So the concept of neuroplasticity is one where it suggests that the brain continues to make new connections, new neural connections. And these neural connections are interesting and important because there's a scientific adage which says that neurons that fire together wire together. So stick with me on that point. So the neurons are the different cells in the brain that, and there are billions and billions and billions of these neurons, and they're in all different parts of your brain. But what the author here is suggesting from a scientific perspective is that the neurons that fire together connect and stay together. So depending on the senses that you've engaged in an experience, which come from different parts of your brain, of course, as and when they fire together or are stimulated together, the more they get stimulated together, the stronger the connections become and the more wired together they become. And what happens is that they become associated with each other. They are connected to each other, which is, I think, what this unmasking concept is all about. Because many of the areas of the brain overlap according to science, and they help each other. So the pathways grow stronger and stronger with repeated use. So through deliberate practice, through deliberate refiring of these neurons and re-experiencing something, but with emotion and with as many different sources, senses, I should say, as possible, these pathways grow stronger and stronger and grow from a little track to an avenue, to a road, to an autobahn, and the more that you stimulate them at the same time, the more they become associated. And this is called unmasking, and it's the creation of a new pathway, a pathway that didn't exist there before, a pathway that you've created through your experience, through your imagination, through your observation. So that's what it's basically. That's what it basically is. So the other thing that the author talks about is that you can change your brain through action and activity, but you can also change it through the use of your imagination. And the example there is, from a medical perspective, there are people who experience a thing called phantom pain. People who have lost a limb in an accident continue to have pain at their foot, for example, even though their foot is missing. And you say, how can that be? How can you not have a foot and yet you're feeling tremendous pain where that foot should be? But this is where the scientists remind us that our imagination is as strong as a physical experience. So in order to sort that out, the scientists are able to unravel it and change it by doing certain sort of exercises and reimagining things. But it just goes to show you that our imagination is so strong that it can be as strong as a physical experience. The author also talks about us that your libido and sexual preferences are also plastic and can change with experiences, because there is a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, which controls instinctive behaviours like sex, and hence an example that people can develop a tolerance to things like pornography by watching and indulging in pornography. What the author suggests is that the brain, through plasticity, neuroplasticity, changes its shape and changes its wiring. We can basically say, so that you can actually see under imagery and scanning how the structure of the brain has changed. So the author says that people's tolerance to something like pornography can change, and with time, with the stimulus response, the reward system the brain creates, the endorphins that are released through watching, say, pornography and things like that, what they're saying is that you can get to the point where that neuroplasticity continues and it seeks more aggressive imagery. And this is just an example that I'm using just to show you how the brain, through imagination, can rewire itself and change its structure, and it's called neuroplasticity. But also, a lot of people say, well, I was born like that, and you can see through an MRI or whatever it is that they use to check the brain. And my spiritual father showed me this, or talked to me about this, and he said that people can be convinced that they were born a particular way. But in science, the most difficult thing of all is the cause, the cause and, what's the other word? Cause and effect. It's very, very difficult in science to prove cause and effect, because some people say that the reason why I am the way I am is that I was born that way. But scientists and psychologists will show that it really is the environment, the things that you focus on, the things that you imagine, stimulate and build certain parts of your brain, certain parts of your hypothalamus, and you get to the point where one day you think, you've changed your sexual orientation, or you've become, different in some ways, and you think that you've always been that way, but in actual fact, you haven't always been that way. It's just the way that you've changed through the neuroplasticity of the brain because of the things that you've imagined, the things that you've focused on, and the things that have been front of mind all the time. Anyway, I think that's about it for me today on this cracker of a summer's day. It's a Friday, it's a day before the weekend. The harbour is full of jellyfish, as you can see down there. Jellyfish everywhere. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, stay positive. And most importantly, let's understand that our brains are like muscles, and they can change through experience and through imagination, and that change will continue as long as you continue to experience new things, as often as you continue to shape your activities, your actions, and have a positive mindset. Because as we said, your imagination as well as physical activities can reshape the brain, change the brain, can form powerful associations through unmasking, and to know that it's like a muscle, as we said, it's like a muscle, and you can change it, you can keep it healthy, you can keep it pliable, you can keep it plastic. Now you can make it better and you can make it worse, depending on what your focus is and how how you engage the different senses of your body to fire those neurons off at the same time and see what impact it has, or what lasting impact it has on the unmasking of the parts of your brain which changes or reshapes it in a way which either serves you or does not serve you. So remembering what you focus on with emotion, what you focus on all the time will change, will rewire your brain, because the neurons that fire together wire together, and some things will get stronger and other things will get weaker. So the trick is to try and get our good habits firing as often as possible so that they get stronger and become habits and routines, and the things that don't serve us we try and unwire by unfocusing on them and not expressing emotion and constant front of mind with those things. So thank you, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message later on in the day. I'm still committed to delivering another 2 Jim's 5am clubs. So daleme, we'll chat again. Bye for now. Filakya from Jim's 5am Club.